Spoiler Sleepover is sponsored by Willow Tree Kitchen.
Willow Tree Kitchen is a one-woman owned and operated bakery currently slinging delicious vegan cookies, mixes, and baked goods out of Kitchen Local in Amesbury, Mass.
Follow Willow Tree Kitchen _ on Instagram or go to their website at willowtreekitchen.com for more.
Greetings, ladies, gents, and our non-binary friends. Welcome to Spoiler Sleepover, part of the Nerdcast Network. Join your hosts, Jason, Michael, and Rob, as they bring you on a slash-tastic adventure through cinema. Now, enjoy the show. It will be a real scream of a time.
This is going to be an unsettling editing process. Anyway, welcome back, everybody. It's Jason Michael.
I'm Rob.
That's right, our first time saying our names this entire time.
Yeah, buddy.
We are back, continuing along with our normal talking about our favorite haunted, spooky, horror, Halloween. I mean, we also took a quick break to talk with our friends Jermaine and Mike over at the Dead Body Bathtub about the Terrifier movies. We had Terrifier 1 on our channel and Terrifier 2 over on their channel, so please go give them support and love from the Spoiler Sleepover suckers. But now we are back, and we are back with our favorite franchises or movies of all time.
Our top threes.
Our top threes, which turned into way more than three.
Yeah, I mean... I knew I had one franchise. We already know what it is.
Yeah.
Child's Play is just the shit. It's so good. There isn't anything bad, including the series. And this newest season's fucking got me real confused. I don't know where this is going. I don't know how Chucky ended up where he's at.
I've heard that it's really good.
Excuse me. Oh, it's fantastic. The few kills that have happened so far in this season are brutal. Real brutal. But it's been great.
Nice.
It's been really good. So, yeah, we did Jason Michael's favorite within the franchise, and not even franchise. Can't really call it a franchise. Within the universe.
Yeah.
His favorite Universal monster.
The Wolfman from 1941. Now, keeping with the similar theme of Universal movies, we're kind of taking a step about 7 years in the future, and not as dark and sad as it was, but instead, we will be talking about, from 1948, we've met a very funny classic comedy duo of Bud Abbott and Lou Costello in Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Yep, they meet Frankenstein, and they meet Dracula.
Yep.
No, they meet Frankenstein's monster. Let's clear the air. At no point in this movie do they meet Dr. Frankenstein.
Damn it.
They only meet the monster.
Yep.
They only meet the monster. But they also meet Dracula.
That's going to be an argument until the end of time. Is Frankenstein the monster or Frankenstein's the doctor? We know Frankenstein is the doctor, but the monster has been more popularized as Frankenstein.
Popularized or not.
It's still the monster.
It's wrong. It's the monster. Everyone's wrong. It's Dr.
You're wrong!
Frankenstein. And then the Wolfman. We get to meet the Wolfman also, and that's why this is going to be the follow-up to Wolfman. He is kind of a carrying character, so it's pretty cool. But before we jump into spoiling and laughing our asses off, what's been keeping us up at night? So I've had kind of a light week when it comes down to watching things. Disney Plus added the Haunted Mansion movie.
Oh.
Not the one, not the old one, the one that we don't talk about with Eddie Murphy.
Okay. I kind of like that one. I remember liking it.
Oh, I could not stand it. Here's my thing. Eddie Murphy's good for what Eddie Murphy does, but don't give him the property that needs to be treated for the fans the way the fans want it.
Okay.
Because he's going to shit on it, which he did. I get that at the time when that movie came out, he was hot shit. Like he'd been doing Donkey for the Shrek movies, and I think like the Nutty Professor movies were doing really really well. I think Norbit had come out, which
Dr.
is
Dolittle.
arguably Dr. Dolittle. I like Norbit because it's so over the top.
Yep.
But it's at the same time it's not a good movie. It's just ridiculous. But
then he disappeared for like 10, 15 years, and I remember looking up, is Eddie Murphy still alive?
Yeah, as far as I know. Yeah, because they did like Coming to America 2, which I didn't watch.
No, yeah, I know he's still alive, but like I looked up because I was like, what? I haven't heard or seen head or tails of the guy in over a decade.
Yeah, maybe he realized his career was over. But this movie, The New Haunted Mansion, is fucking fantastic. It's got some legitimate spooks in it. Like I actually got a little, like, I didn't jump at any point in time, but I was definitely like put my mind in the mindset of if I were a kid watching this, it would freak me the hell out. Like it was almost poltergeist level of like, oh wow, yeah.
PG or PG-13?
I believe it's PG, but I think it should have been a PG-13. Don't quote me on that, but it definitely has PG-13 feel.
Okay. In 2023, ratings could mean anything at this point.
Yeah, there's definitely no language that I remember at all. It was really good. It has a lot of heart too. I ended up actually crying at one point. So, highly recommend. Highly recommend. Aside from that, that's the only movie I've watched. I've been watching some TV shows though. I started watching this show that was on the air a while ago, but they added it to Max recently, called Crimes Gone Viral. It's literally like security cameras and that have caught crimes, and because the security cameras caught crimes, they were able to catch the criminals, sort of situation. But they like interview the people that the crimes happened to, and yeah, it's stupid. It's drama TV for no reason, and I watch it because it's like 23 minutes an episode, and there's 2 crimes per episode, and it's just like, yeah, all right, cool. I can shut my brain off and watch this. There's a new show that got added. Well, it's on actual TV if you actually have TV. But it's also being added on Peacock right now, episode by episode, called The Irrational. It's really good. It's about a professor of human behavior who gets brought in by the FBI and the local PD to help understand the minds of criminals. It's pretty interesting. So if you're into those sort of like sitcom-y crime of the week shows, it's definitely for you. Other than that, the big one, the one I've been like, I've gotten 3 seasons in just 4 days.
Jesus.
I'm catching up on Doctor Who. So
okay.
To all of you out there who know me as like this hardcore horror fan who has a heart, I'm also a Whovian. I love Doctor Who.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah, we're called Whovians.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
I don't talk about it all that often, just because like I don't want to get lumped in to like the fandom. Like the certain fans out there are a little over the top. But I adore this show. Now, I didn't fall off for any right or wrong reason. I literally fell off just because time restraints. Things got in the way, life happened. Well, she's the actress, Jodie Whittaker.
Any relation to Forrest?
No, goodness, no.
Okay.
She's very white and very British.
Got it.
But she is the first female doctor to be on screen. And it's so fantastic. It's so nice to be back in this world. It's like a warm blanket. I'm very happy to be back in it. I fell off and a lot has happened. My partner and I took a trip out to Salem, Mass, and we went to this awesome pizza spot. If any of you out there find yourselves in Salem, Massachusetts, I 100% recommend going to Flying Saucer. It's this awesome sci-fi themed pizza place. They have Star Wars, Star Trek, and Doctor Who stuff everywhere. And when we went there, I was walking around and noticed their giant Doctor Who wall had framed pictures of every actor that has played the Doctor throughout the years.
Nice.
And got to a point where I was like, okay, there's Jodie Whittaker. And then saw the Doctor right after. I was like, wait a second. And then I saw the Doctor after that, and I was like, hold on. Like, so I was like, I'm clearly way behind, and I need to find the time to jump back on. So I did. It's been great. I love it. I'm gonna shut up about Doctor Who. My last thing is that I finished Playground.
Oh Jesus, this saga.
I had thought about doing a video or a live stream just solo by myself on our Instagram about Playground. I might still do that. I'm not going to get into it here.
Do it up.
Maybe I'll take you on that journey with me. But
oh, sweet, it saved me.
my end result on this is, aside from the one horrific chapter describing an elderly woman's lady bits, the book isn't that bad.
Okay.
I guess to the point that it talks about death and like what happens to each individual person while they're dying. I think the reason most people fell off of it or said it was as horrific as it was because it was happening to children.
Yeah.
But I feel like if this was happening to adults, nobody would have batted an eye at the book.
Nobody bats an eye, but it's all of a sudden starts happening to kids and everyone loses their minds.
Yes. Thanks, Joker.
Hey, anytime.
But yeah, I mean, it was good. I enjoyed it. The author's an amazing wordsmith. So the descriptions are visceral. They are very, very real. So yeah, Aaron Beauregard is the author's name. So if you're looking for really fucked up shit, he's your dude. I actually plan on listening to a few other of his books. He's written quite a few. So, but seeing as I finished that, I decided to move on to my next fucked up book, which is called Tender is the Flesh.
I can only imagine where this one's gonna go.
This one is very interesting. It's a Spanish book that was translated into English, and it kind of shows a bit, but takes place in the quote unquote future. There's no flying cars or anything like that, but
damn,
animals around the world, all animals aside from humans, have contracted this disease that makes them inedible. So you're not able to eat them. You can't even like get their skin for leather. It's poisonous to humans. So humans being humans and wanting to eat meat, we are the commodity.
Return to cannibalism.
Yeah, so it follows this one guy who works in a butchering factory, and the descriptions of, farming human meat and tanning human flesh for leather and all that stuff. It's quite interesting. Like I said, and I'll always say, I don't really have the time to sit down and read, so I listen to audiobooks, and the audiobook is read by a Spanish-speaking person.
Yeah.
So he's got this very sultry voice with he's rolling his R's and everything. So like, I know that the book is supposed to be all like, oh my gosh, this is so dark, but I'm just like, the whole time I'm like, oh my, sir, hello.
You ever want to be turned on while hearing about human dismemberment?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
No, but it's good. It's very well written also. I'm glad I stumbled upon both of these. They're definitely keeping my interest. So yeah, that's what's been keeping me up at night. What about you, Jason Michael?
So, I had my last stream for like a month, the other night, just so I can make sure I'm focusing on getting a bunch of stuff done instead of burying myself in editing, hell. So, I've got a bunch of editing to do for clip videos and other things. So Feisty Cheese is taking a bit of a break from streaming, but YouTube will still be active, so do not worry about that. On the watching side of things, I have restarted 2 shows. I caught up with Invincible. I kind of talked about it during our episode on Terrifier with Dead Body Bathtub. But I rewatched all of Invincible. I haven't seen the 3rd episode that came out the other day. I think it comes out on Wednesdays. But so far, just as great as the first season was. And I cannot wait to see what new hell awaits us in this season of Invincible. And keeping with the superhero trend, I restarted The Boys in order to watch Gen V to also get ready for season 4.
Nice.
Never forgotten how fucking fantastic of an actor both Carl Urban and Anthony Starr are, but holy shit. Like, you get lost in the fact that Anthony Starr is just an actor from New Zealand, and he is portraying Homelander as this almighty terrible power that you just, the moment he comes on screen, you go, oh shit, like, Homelander's coming for me next. You feel worried because he plays him so evilly well. He's got such a commanding presence. Like, there was a few scenes where, like, they start suspecting Starlight, and he just goes on this whole evil villain, like, power trip monologue, and she basically stands up to defend herself, and then out of nowhere just goes, put those hands where I can see them, Missy. And it's just like, okay, I'm sorry. He is fantastic. Carl Urban, while his character is a little slightly more lighthearted than Homelander, there's just a scene where he threatened another character. Basically, it's like, you are going to speak out against the Supes. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. It's like, oh, well, your family's going to have a bad day. And he goes, what? It's like, yeah, your daughter that's out there, and then I'm going to find the rest of your family, your brothers, your sisters, their kids, your grandkids. They're all going to go bye-bye. Your family dies today. And he delivers it in such a cold manner that I lost the fact that was Carl Urban. The guy, what's his name? Scourge from Thor Ragnarok, who goes, behold my stuff. And I was like, this is a man you do not want to fuck with.
No.
So, knowing or remembering what I remember of season 3, I'm finishing up season 2. I got maybe 20 minutes left in the finale again. But I cannot wait to rewatch season 3, because I know that Soldier Boy, and when Jensen Ackles, is it Jensen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I was like, it's not the other guy from Supernatural. But Jensen Ackles, when he shows up as Soldier Boy, that's a whole other level of, oh my god, this man commands the shit out of this role.
Yeah.
So I'm here for it, and whether my brain goes, oh, that was fun. All right, Gen V. Oh, that was fun. Let's do it again. Because I don't know when season 4 is coming out, but I cannot wait.
Yeah, I can't either. The upside is, I mean, you're far enough in now that it doesn't matter, but Gen V doesn't really connect. I mean, it does, but there's no like crossover. They don't really bring up anything from The Boys. I mean, like, the characters exist in speech, but they're not.
I've heard that there might be some. I feel like there's going to be some sort of correlation between Gen V and then some of season 4, is what I've heard.
Okay.
So
yeah, well, that'd be cool, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a couple episodes. I actually might be 3 episodes behind on Gen V, because a lot has just come up where it's just I started watching the spin-off show of John Wick, and I watched like the first 2 episodes, and I was like, yeah, this can wait.
Fuck, what's the Continental?
Yeah.
Is that on Peacock, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I believe it's on Peacock.
I still
It's either that or
still gotta see
Paramount
chapter
Plus.
4.
Chapter 4 was okay.
Okay.
It's kind of what I was expecting from chapter 4.
I mean,
like, that's just
pretty sure all of the chapters have been something along the similar lines of flashy gun moves, car chase, horse chase, motorcycle chase.
This one was so much more of like, I don't want to spoil it. It was like they shifted into one gear and just stayed there, and it never got to like high gear like the other 3 installments did. It was very just like, all right, so this is the pace we're going to keep.
Okay.
And you're like, oh, okay.
I do know that, like, from stuff I've seen, there's some pretty challenging and demanding roles. Like, yes, there is a very silly roll down the stairs for about 20 minutes kind of thing. But, like, there are stuntmen that straight up get hit by cars.
Yeah, the stair sequence was actually my favorite sequence in the movie, just because it was so ridiculous. But all right, so that's what's been keeping us up at night. Hit us up on Instagram. Message us. Let us know what's been keeping you up at night, and because we want to know. And let us know what you thought about our last episode, our crossover episode with Dead Body Bathtub podcast.
I had so much friggin' fun with that, especially re-listening to it and just laughing at the same stupid shit that we were joking about, but it was still really friggin' funny.
Yeah. And please go over and give Dead Body Bathtub a follow. Follow them and subscribe wherever they are and everywhere they are, and rate them. Please listen to all their content. They're fucking just amazing human beings. We had such a good time with them. We are planning on doing something with them again in the near future. So
absolutely,
maybe sooner than you think.
Ooh. And Rob, there was something else you wanted to talk about this episode?
So we've also started doing something this season that kind of is a filler in between, not necessarily a filler, but it's a little bit of information I like to bring to the table that is about...
It's like he fucking knows. Yeah. Like, this guy's here. They're doing something. They're recording some shit.
I don't know if you guys can hear a dog barking in the background, but there's a dog here. So, yeah.
It gives him more power when we talk about him.
But we've been doing this new thing where, because I read a lot of news, horror news, and keep up with stuff, watch trailers, all of that jazz, because I want to stay as current as possible and know what's going on. But we've done it the past few episodes, and did some brainstorming.
It's kind of been the ramblings of Mad Men.
Yeah.
Now we can put a name to it so it doesn't seem as
exactly
psychotic.
Yeah, so we did a little brainstorming and decided to give this segment a name, a new segment called Creepin' It Real.
Creepin' It Real.
And that is spelled with 2 E's. No matter what Jason Michael says, it's spelled with 2 E's. Because reels, movies,
yeah.
You get it? You get it?
I was thinking of creepin', and I was like, of course it's spelled with 2 E's. What are you talking about? I didn't even think of the second fucking word.
I didn't even think of it.
Or the third word.
Third
Jesus
word.
Christ.
Yeah. Welcome to Spoiler Sleepover. Where the points don't matter.
Damn it! I was going to make that fucking joke.
So, let's jump into a little Creepin' It Real that I've got for you this week.
Hit me.
I don't know if you knew or you'd seen this, I'm assuming you haven't, but Fede Alvarez had been announced a few years ago that he had been picked up to write a sequel to the Alien franchise.
I feel like I've heard about this.
Now, there's been talk of there's an Alien series also coming out.
Okay.
It's actually happening. They're doing it. It's being made. Well, the Fede Alvarez movie is done.
Oh.
Yes. It's been finished. Now, I don't know much about it other than it's called Alien Romulus. The name is stupid as hell.
There's still time to change it, possibly.
And that's the hope.
Yeah.
The articles that I read, both of them, because I read 2 articles about this because I was like, this seems a little shoddy. So I found another one written by another horror news broadcast situation.
Yeah.
And they both said there's time. This movie does not have a set release date for the foreseeable future currently, so there's time to get rid of the Romulus. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, I'm fucking excited. I love the Alien franchise as a whole. I personally don't think that it's a bad entry. I know a lot of people don't like the prequels, which is whatever.
It was Prometheus and was that also Covenant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I love both of them. I genuinely love both of them. I love it all.
Yeah.
So Ridley Scott could do no wrong in my eyes.
Okay.
But speaking of Ridley Scott, Fede Alvarez showed Ridley the movie.
Oh.
And Ridley loved it.
Okay.
So that is my bit of news. It's nothing huge or great or grand, but I found that extremely exciting because I was just like, okay, it's done. It's been made. It's great. Fede Alvarez is an amazing writer. He's an amazing director. He does fantastic work. But where would Ridley be on this this spectrum of things?
It kind of reminds me of David Gordon Green going to John Carpenter to I mean, they were going to make it regardless, but at least to get his blessing, and they're very lucky that they did get his blessing.
Oh, yeah. Well, Ridley's a producer. So he's a producer on this movie.
Wasn't John as well an executive producer?
I believe so,
yeah. On all three.
If I remember correctly, yeah.
Which he said his favorite, he came out and said his favorite of the trilogy was Halloween Kills. That's John Carpenter's favorite of the new Halloween movies.
I mean, it's mine too.
There we go.
I really like it. It's cool to see Michael go full
berserk.
Yeah, I mean he put Jason to fucking shame. That's for sure.
Remember, kids, evil dies tonight.
Yeah. Oh my god. Core 4.
Oh god, I hate that one more. I'm okay with evil dies tonight, but the Core 4 just
So that's our little bit of creeping it real today. Fede Alvarez has shown Ridley Scott Alien Romulus. I hate the name because of this. Romulus is a planet where the Romulans from Star Trek come from.
Okay. That's it.
It's a fucking planet in Star Trek. If I don't see a goddamn Romulan in an Alien movie, if they don't cross these shits together and the name is still Romulus, I'm gonna flip burgers. I'm gonna not be pleased. So change the fucking name so that I don't have to boycott the fucking movie knowing that it's not a Star Trek crossover.
I just love that fucking description. Instead of just, I'm going to be mad, I'm going to be flipping mad, I'm going to flip burgers.
I'm going to flip the fuck out of some vegan burgers.
Oh my fucking god.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's it. That's what's
that part's staying
that's
in.
Creeping it real.
Oh god. I've got to flip burgers. I've never fucking heard that before.
I say it all the time.
I've never heard you say that. You are a liar and a deceiver.
Maybe I don't say it here, but I say it.
Yeah, I say it all the time through this episode and forever on after this.
Constantly.
Yeah, it's been his catchphrase the entire time.
Welcome to Flippin' Burgers, spoiler flippin' sleepover burgers. I was just like, Rob has fucking lost his goddamn mind. Holy shit.
All right.
Let's jump into some Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein's Monsters, which the title should be. Wait. Before we do that.
Jesus Christ.
Before we do that.
Yes.
On recording. On air.
I
want to give you a gift.
Uh-oh.
I have it right here. Hold on. I'm going to drop something. I have a bad feeling. Currently, right now, I'm handing Jason Michael a VHS.
It's a visual podcast, folks. Oh.
Sometimes.
It is a VHS tape of Bud Abbott and Lou Costello meet The Mummy from 1955.
I got that thing a year ago. I continuously forget every time that I see you to give it to you.
Aww.
And this is perfect because it's on this episode. So.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go down to my parents' house and see if I can grab one of the 3 VHS or VCRs that we have sitting in the living room. Dude, we have so many and so many VHS tapes still.
Yeah.
Like,
I still collect them.
We have a dresser full of VHS tapes. There's an entire, like, Universal Monsters drawer, and then it's, like, a smattering of different horror movies, like Spider Baby, Basket Case, like, it goes on. Killer Clowns.
Basket Case on fucking VHS?
I'm pretty sure, unless I'm remembering the Basket Case DVD that we have, but we've got some shit, like the fucking, what is it, Dr. Giggles?
Yeah.
Which I've never seen.
What?
I've wanted to see it, but that was when I was still too young, and my dad was like, well, no. You can watch these horror movies, but not yet Dr. Giggles.
I'm going to say it here on the episode. If you want to hear a really good breakdown, like spoiler-ish conversation about Dr. Giggles, go over and listen to Horror Movie Nights episode.
All right. I might have to fucking track down a copy. Oh god, yeah, we got like Killer Clowns, Texas Chainsaw 2.
Oh man.
I'm pretty sure we've got. Oh fuck, I can see the box art in my mind right now.
In your mind's eye.
In my mind's eye, Kenobi. Kenobi! Alright, anyway. I'm sorry.
Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein's fucking monster.
Meets Darth Maul. Alright.
That
was great.
Movie.
Yeah. Oh my god. What was the one we came up with? Jason Voorhees and Smokey the Bear?
Yeah. Yeah.
We have gotten off the rails. Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein from 1948. This is the amount of times I've seen this movie. There's like 2 comedy horror movies from the old days that I've seen like probably equal amount of times. It's this and Arsenic and Old Lace.
I've never seen that.
Oh my god, it is great.
Is it? Okay.
It is so good. It's got Cary Grant.
Okay.
And he's pretty much the only recognizable actor from that, but at the same point, like, there's a dude in there who, oh, wait, I'm an idiot. And also, I feel so bad. He's not the only recognizable actor. Peter fucking Lorre is also in it.
Way to go. Way to forget Peter Lorre.
Yeah, no, that hurt. I was focusing more on the actor who comes in. It's basically, when it was on TV one time, I come downstairs and I was like, oh, Boris Karloff's in this movie? And
Nice.
it's like, no, but that's the joke, is the actor went through some botched makeup to hide the fact that he's a criminal. And now they're like, weird, he looks just like Karloff.
Who is not in this movie that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, but it's anyway. I love this movie. It's got a great opening title sequence of animated skeletons.
I love that animation opening. It's so good. And we get animation throughout the movie, too.
Right?
It's so ridiculous.
There's a lot more animated scenes in this movie than I originally thought when I watched it the other day. And, like, on a nice, giant, high-def screen, I was like, oh, shit, that's a drawing. That's flashing. Yeah, okay, all right, sick. But it's like, it's the Frankenstein monster comes up, knocks on 2 coffins. It's the skeletons of Abbott and Costello, and they come out and just do, whoa, and run around and shatter. Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. We're introduced to the monsters. So we got Bela Lugosi reprising his role as Dracula for the 2nd time. This is only the 2nd time, and the only other time he's played Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I said it with the Wolfman. When you think of certain monsters, like you think of Boris Karloff as Frankenstein, you think of Lon Chaney Jr. as the Wolfman, you think of Bela Lugosi as Dracula.
Yep.
Even though he's played him like so far apart and practically the least.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure John Carradine's only done it twice, but John Carradine was like back to back. This is Dracula from 1931 and Abbott and Costello from 1948. So 17-year difference.
That's just insane to think about.
Yeah, like...
But he does such an amazing job.
I think the houses were 44 and 45, so Carradine was back-to-back with those.
Okay.
So House of Frankenstein and House of Dracula.
Right.
But...
Cheeks.
Yes, we take place after the House of Dracula, which, if you haven't seen those movies, we'll get to it, but eventually, at the end of it, Lon Chaney Jr. or Larry Talbot gets cured of his werewolf disease. Mm-hmm. Does some sort of brain surgery with a certain plant, and then the little part of his brain that was like werewolf,
werewolf,
was taken out.
Yep.
So he's no longer a werewolf. Which this movie starts off in dreary old London with a desperate, sad-looking Larry Talbot peeking out a window, trying to call the States. Because he's like, hurry, there isn't much time.
Yeah.
And at this point, you already kind of know, if you know about the Wolfman, you know, okay, we know what he's racing against.
Mm-hmm.
So, calls up a little mail store, essentially, or parcel shop from trains and stuff.
Parcel shop.
Yeah, a lot of it comes from the trains that are right next door. But it's phone ringing, and then Bud Abbott and Lou Costello just going, answer the phone. The customer rings the bell. Answer the bell!
What do you want to do? Both of them.
Oh my god, there's just so many little jokes in this entire thing. While writing out my notes, which there's quite a bit of them, I was sitting there going, how the fuck are we going to even talk about this movie? Because it's so much that happens. It's so many jokes. It's just a great movie.
Yeah, there are. I wrote down a few of my favorite lines. That made me laugh probably far too hard.
Oh my god, it was fantastic. But he holds the line for the phone, goes to answer, and there's a woman who's looking down. She's got a feather on her hat. And Costello goes, "Miss, how can I help you?" She looks up and tickles his face. He's like, then it's like, "I'd like to have my grip." Bud comes over. I'm going to call them by Abbott and Costello throughout this entire thing.
It's Abbott and
Chick.
Costello meet Frankenstein, but then they call them Chick and
Wilbur. Yeah, it's Chick Young and Wilbur Gray. And I'll come back to a very specific thing, but I'll try and get into calling them Chick and Wilbur. Abbott is playing Chick. Costello is playing Wilbur. There's a joke that's later on in the movie that I don't know if you caught it, but you might already know about it when they get to the castle, but I'll tell you when we get there. So Chick comes over, says, "Oh, well, this bag hasn't come off from the last shipment on the last train, so why don't you go out and get her bag?" He walks out and goes, "Excuse me, miss," looks down, sees she's got like some fox pelt on her. Yeah, and he barks at the pelt. Just casually goes away. This is okay for 1948, but there's a lot of stuff that happens within the next couple minutes that's like, you'd get fired so quickly. Like, so he goes out, pulls the bag out of the middle of the stack. It all comes crashing down on his head. Liddy gets her bag, but then here we are introduced to Sandra, who from the get-go is already Wilbur's love interest. And she's like, "Oh my God, what happened?" And he's like, "Sandra, I hurt my poor Will head." She checks his head, basically being like, "All right, anything hurt? Anything all screwy?" It's kind of giving us weird vibes from the get-go. Yeah. He's like, "Nope, I'm good. I think that kiss made everything better." She's like, "Good. I couldn't picture if anything happened to you. I wouldn't want anything to happen to my poor little Wilbur or something." Oh my God. There's like quick little jabs back and forth between the two of them, and it's great because
one of my favorite is just like Abbott's like, "How did you get someone like? How could you get a woman like that? Have you looked at yourself?"
Yeah,
like, look at yourself in the mirror. And he's
why would I want to hurt my own feelings? Before that, he comes out and goes, "Come on, get up. Or if your head doesn't hurt too much." And she goes, "Well, his head's fine." And Abbott goes, "Well, his is, but I worry about you." It's like, "Me? Yes. Is your head all right?" It's like, "Yes, my head's fine." He's like, "You know what? Frankly, I don't get it." She goes, "And frankly, you never will."
Best sex joke.
Bitch! Fucking got him.
Felt like that was ahead of its time, too. I was like, holy shit, she went in.
It's great. So, they start picking up the bags. The phone goes off again, going, "Hey, somebody's still on the line." He goes back in, and it's Larry Talbot in England, or London, and he goes, a call from London? Here? This ain't collect, is it? And they say no, and he goes, "Oh, good." So then Larry Talbot tries to explain quickly that there's going to be 2 crates addressed to McDougal's House of Horrors. Whatever you do not deliver them until I get there.
Right.
Understand? It's a matter of grave importance. And then as he's explaining, he starts turning into the Wolfman. So now we're added growl sound effects on top of it. And we see the, I think it's called a lap dissolve, is what I forgot what it was called in the Wolfman breakdown, but I believe the effect is called a lap dissolve, where it's just the actor is mounted in place with like a plaster pillow, so it's not squishy and their head doesn't move to the wrong spot. And their head is like mounted there for hours. Now, the makeup was done by Jack Pierce for the original Wolfman and then for quite some time. And Bud Westmore and team, which are most famous for doing like the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Okay.
So they did a lot of those things. They did the makeup for this, which included the new Frankenstein pieces, the new Wolfman pieces. It all goes on, instead of individually, it all goes on in like a giant prosthetic.
Okay, yeah, and you can kind of tell that, too,
by
looking at it, because it doesn't look...
It does. This is my least favorite Wolfman design. He looks kind of like a cat.
Yeah, also looks like he is wearing a mask.
Yeah, no, that's a note I have, is this... You can see more Lon Chaney Jr. in this makeup than in any of the other ones. Yeah. You could kind of see it in the Wolfman,
right?
But like this one, it was basically just Lon Chaney was wearing the makeup over his face.
Right.
Now, could I do something like this? Absolutely not, because I'm not that skilled and not that creative to the point where Bud Westmore and his team did all of this.
Right.
So good for them, but it doesn't look like the Wolfman I know.
No.
Yeah. So he starts freaking out over the line, wolfing out, and then Costello's like, "You're awful silly to call me from London just to have your dog talk to me." and he growls over the phone, so he barks back at him, hangs up, and goes, "That's funny, the guy growls like a wolf."
Yep.
We meet Mr. McDougal, another customer. He goes, "What can I do for you?" He's like, "I've got 2 crates addressed to my House of Horrors. I want immediate delivery. My name's McDougal." "McDougal? I was just talking to you from London. How'd you get here so fast? Did they shoot you out of a cannon?" He's like, "I've been here the whole time. I've been here
5 years.
Yeah.
You've been here.
You don't see me going around like..."
Yeah, banging on things.
Yep. And he
Tells him to
starts...
stop yelling at him.
Yeah. "Don't you know it's impolite to raise your voice?" "Oh, chick!" He just starts shouting at him.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Costello is the movie.
Oh, absolutely.
He killed me the entire movie. It was hilarious.
Yeah. So they locate the 2 crates, and then Sandra shows back up, but Bud takes or Abbott takes Costello away, basically being like, no, he's busy, quiet. And then McDougal goes into a bit of exposition going, "You know what I have in those crates, miss? I've got the original coffin with the original Count Dracula and the remains of the Frankenstein monster." So he calls him the monster from the get-go.
Yeah.
But in this point, it cuts back to Sandra, who's looking like, "Okay, all right, that's good news to know."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, someone's shifty. And then she walks around and tells Wilbur she's got to break off the date they had planned for tonight. He's like, "It's not another man." It's like, "No, of course not. Never." And he goes, "Cool. Great.
It's 2 other men."
Surprise." So he starts going, "Nothing matters anymore. Woo."
Yeah.
He puts his arm up. His head's right next to a little suitcase. And he goes, "I'm floating on a cloud of love." And Bud goes, "Listen, you little blimp, I'll let the air out of you in a second." Slams the bag into his head and he goes, "Thank you." Boy, is this kid lost. Which there's 2 lines in this movie that I use still to this day. It's mostly against, like, Zoe, and she knows what it's from. We watched the movie together, but it's mostly against her. "Thank you" is one of them. And then we'll get to it at the castle, but when Costello goes, "Fibber."
It's so good.
Yeah. So Costello climbs to the top of the crate with a rope. It's really good when you first see it, but then as you watch it and you know it's coming, you start going, all right, how the hell did they do this for 1948? Right. He throws the rope down, and the crate starts rocking back and forth. But Costello, it's a great effect for the time, but as you look more at it, you can see that his feet are secured. Mm-hmm. He's got like those leg braces that basically prop him up so he doesn't fall back or he doesn't bend his knees and then fall back that way. And on my most recent watch, I saw there's wires on his sides.
No way.
Yep.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, there's a part of his apron that's just like sticking out to the side.
Interesting.
Yep. So the crate's rocking back and forth. He's being held on there. And then continuity, he goes, or McDougal shows up and goes, "Oh my God, what is he doing? Stop him." It's like, "Calm down, you're insured. Yes, and if those crates are damaged, I intend to collect." When he first climbed up there was a bunch of suitcases on the other side. Yeah. But when he falls down, he falls onto a bunch of crates with like straw and such. Mm-hmm. It's like, "Cool. Shall I wrap it up? Ready to go?" And he's like, No. If that's how you handle mail, you're going to deliver it to my House of Horrors personally." He goes, "Well, I must let you know I'm a union man. I only work 16 hours a week." And he goes, "A union man only works 8 hours a week. I belong to 2 unions." It's just such witty commentary and just good jokes. And we're within 10 minutes of the movie starting. Mm-hmm. And there's been so much that has happened. We go to McDougal's House of Horrors where Chick and Wilbur are delivering the crates. He goes, "Go ahead, open the door." It's a great revealing shot of a bunch of different like wax Madame Tussauds mannequins.
So this is where my big question comes in.
Okay.
Now, as soon as this scene happens, when we walk into the House of Horrors, like as soon as the doors open by themselves, by the way, I must add, he puts the key in and then the doors just open. He doesn't actually push them. I was like, did he push those doors? No.
Pretty sure he did, though.
I saw him just do this and then the doors opened on their own.
I mean, it was probably one of the joke things where it was like, you know what? I don't want to be here right now. It's all spooky now.
So my question is, were all of the wax figurines and stuff like that are in there, they're not figurines, they're not tiny, they're figures. Mm-hmm. Are those from other Universal movies? Or was it just so happened they were like, "Oh, this is it. We've got these horror props."
As far as I know, I haven't heard or seen anything that says otherwise. I believe they're just like different themed props.
Well, son of a brisket. See, I was going to look it up and then I didn't because I was like, oh, you know what? Jason Michael will have this information.
I mean, either I'm right and I'm on top of the world, or you're about to prove me wrong when you look it up.
Yeah, so
But
I'm gonna check this out.
yeah, so they start walking through. They bring the first crate in, and Wilbur's freaking out the entire time, like, "Oh, look at that!" Oh. He gets an axe to the back, or it's like, a executioner holding an axe. He's like, "Someone's got a knife in my back." And he turns around and he starts like almost fainting at the guy. They keep moving the box down. They start opening up the crate, and they see a little board that says "The Legend of Count Dracula." So they're opening the crate. They move the cloth, and they see that it's a coffin, like coffin, and then it's Abbott saying, "Oh, coffin," and Costello just going, "Coffin," and then he's like, "Dracula's crest." He's just like, "God, no." He goes, "I wonder if they expect us to believe that Dracula's really in there." He reaches down to open it up, and Costello slams his foot on top and goes, No, don't do that, don't do that." Abbott says he's going to go out to get the other crate, and he wants Wilbur to, take care of all the random stuff they took care of. And he goes, "I'm going to go out and get the other crate, and no back talk." And Wilbur goes, "I've got just 2 words to say to you." And he goes, "What's that?" "Hurry back." So he doesn't want to be left alone in here at all. But so he starts picking up all the stuff, reads The Legend of Count Dracula, and you hear a creaking, which then we look and we see that the coffin is opened with Count Dracula's eyes on the inside, played by Bela Lugosi. You're making a bunch of faces. You're learning a bunch of stuff, aren't you?
Yeah, I shouldn't have done this. This was a bad idea.
Uh-oh. What you got?
I'll save it until we get to the scene.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, there was an injury on set.
Oh, yeah, I know that one.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and that was going to be my other fun fact.
Holy
an actor had to be swapped out with another actor?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's insanity.
That's at the end of the movie, isn't it?
It sure is.
Yep.
I have it written down in my notes, too, as something hilarious, so
Yep.
I'll just bring that up. We're going to get to it.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, it was, if I remember correctly, it was because he was carrying the other actor in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, he keeps reading the thing, he keeps calling out for Chick. Chick's like, "Nothing is happening, shut up, do your work." He puts the candle down on...
Put the candle back.
He puts the candle down on top of the coffin, and then it creaks. The candle, which we didn't even say, they lit a candle to read and also to see.
Because the power went out.
Yeah, because the power went out. But the candle starts sliding down the coffin. So he knows that something is happening with the coffin.
Yeah.
Like, he's been reading it and goes, "Oh, it turns into a bat flying about the countryside. Flying, woo!" And he turns and he sees Dracula's hands on the outside of the coffin.
Yeah.
He starts screaming, crying, and yelling for Chick. Meanwhile, Bela Lugosi gets out of the coffin and sneaks away. He was about to do something, but he sees that Chick's coming with the other crate.
Your chick walks in as Bella's walking to the other side of the room and doesn't notice that there's somebody walking.
I would like to believe it's because he just went back outside. Maybe his eyes did not get adjusted back to it. It's also a movie from 1948.
Yeah. Suspend disbelief a little bit, I guess.
You're dealing with the vampires, werewolves, and undead reanimated monsters. Anyway.
There's a lot of moments throughout this one scene where I was just like, how did nobody notice?
Oh, especially when they leave. Yeah.
What the hell is happening right now?
So they open the casket. Dracula's not there. And he goes, "See? No one's in there." And he goes, "No." He looks right at the camera like, what the hell?
I have that in my notes. Costello breaks the fourth wall so many times and looks... He looks directly at us as viewers.
Yep.
So many times.
Within the last 5 minutes is probably my favorite one.
Yeah.
They started opening up the other crate, moving some of the straw off, and it is the body of the Frankenstein monster, played by Glenn Strange.
Yeah.
So, Glenn has played it for House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula, and Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, it was Karloff and Frankenstein, in Bride of Frankenstein, in Son of Frankenstein. And then it was Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman was Bela Lugosi and Lon Chaney Jr. in Ghost of Frankenstein. And then since then, it's been Glenn Strange. So he freaks out. He's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, cover him up, whoa!" It's a whole great thing. Bud pushes him back. A guillotine goes down, decapitates a mannequin. He goes, "Oh, look, now you did it." Then you hear McDougal from the outside going, "Hey, what are you doing in there with the lights off?" He goes, you get rid of that head. I'll go deal with McDougal. He grabs the head while all of this is happening, too. Like, they hear the creaking while they're opening a box. And he goes, yeah, I hear you pulling out the nails. Don't worry about it. It's just Dracula in the back opening the coffin to climb back in. So Wilbur picks up the head, goes over to the coffin, opens it to try and put the head in there. And Dracula comes out doing his little eye hypnotize thing.
Yeah.
With the...
His eyes twitch at one point, too, while he's doing it. I was just like... did he get distracted, like, temporarily by something off screen?
Yep.
It made me laugh.
Yeah. But, like, and
he's really hamming it up in this scene, too. Like, he's full Dracula.
Yes.
But he's being super hammy in this entire scene.
Mm-hmm.
It's, from after this scene forward, he's Dracula. Like, there's no corn at all in his acting.
Yeah.
Except for the doc, for the masquerade ball.
Yeah, I will say Dracula is way more of a fleshed out character, I think, than we've ever seen him before.
100%.
Because in the first one, he's just a monster. He's just like, I don't drink wine. It's like, all right, but now he's like, oh, well, not as curious as those mysterious operations of yours.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay, like full-blown character. He's got a mission. He's got a plan. This is what he wants to do. So he goes over with Wilbur that is now, like, arthritic hand, like, mesmerized. Yeah. The way Dracula's hands go, it's just like, meh.
Yeah, drag queens to this day still move the way he... I feel like he created that specific... Because he does it later in the movie, where his hands move and he's, like, all...
Woobly woobly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've seen drag queens do the hand stuff. Speaking of drag queens, if you haven't watched it... You're into this sort of stuff. Shudder has an amazing show called Dragula, and it is horror drag.
Nice.
It is fan-fucking-tastic.
Do they dig through the ditches and burn through the witches?
Sometimes, yeah.
Oh.
So it's a challenge show like RuPaul's Drag Race.
That was a dumb joke,
but
thank you for keep going.
No, I love it. But they do challenges for every episode. So challenges are like, all right, you'll get an advantage. Whoever finishes X, Y, and Z first gets an advantage. Like, there's one where they have to eat a bowl filled with, like, calf brains. And, yeah, they're gross challenges. Like, real gross. But it's all horror-related, and these drag queens are fucking fantastic.
Nice.
But they do, like, all right, make your version of a Cenobite. Make your version of undead rock star. But they're gross. It's really good.
Nice.
Anyway, that was a tangent of its own.
So, Dracula has a little ring that he puts to the bolts of Frankenstein's neck. Some little electric drawings that, like, the animations. He wakes up and he goes, Master.
Oh, he puts them on his eyes, too.
Yeah, he does. So his eyes open. But yeah, he speaks, which is the first time that we've heard him speak since the son of... No, not son of Frankenstein. Bride, and then it was Ghost of Frankenstein was the last time. Because it was Bela Lugosi as Igor.
The first time he spoke was Bride.
Yeah, the first time he spoke was Bride. Last time he spoke was Ghost. Because Igor, played by Bela Lugosi, swaps brains with the monster. And then he's like, I will conquer the world! he sounds very German in that one, and it's very scary.
That's good!
Fire bad! He's talking. It's not really many words. It's master, or just like, oh, or yes.
Yes, master.
Very, very few words. But they get up, they go hide in the corner. McDougal fixes a fuse. I said McDougal. It just turned on and started spinning.
Not again, Google.
Yeah, my Google is listening again. The first one, which we'll have to release, was in the Friday the 13th episode where it just starts screaming at me. But I just looked over and I saw the ring flashing because I said McDougal. And, now you won't do it again. Fuck you. Anyway, they come in. McDougal goes through all the rest of, like, the scraps, and he goes, there's no bodies in here. Where are my bodies? He's like, well, maybe they were stolen en route. And he goes, no, they weren't stolen. I want my insurance money. Yeah. The insurance agent is there with him, and he goes, well, we don't pay out till we go through a full investigation. And he goes, investigation? Yes, I'll call the police. Police? And Wilbur kind of snaps at him and goes, police! And he goes, I could do better than that. Police! release, and just drags him out. Yeah. So then at the end of this scene is when Frankenstein and Dracula come back, and Frankenstein just lumbers over, grabs the coffin, and just bangs it across the floor. It's like, how did you not hear any of that and just go, oh!
Found him!
Bad! Burn down your whole house of horrors, McDougal. Don't worry, the insurance will fucking cover it. And then it goes to Dracula flying up to an island, a castle on an island.
Animation.
Yes. And even though you can clearly see when the animation stops because it's like a freeze frame.
Yeah.
And then it dissolves back into it. So it's like, here's a frozen leaf, but then when Dracula is actually walking around, the leaf is all the way over here and swaying back and forth.
It happens a few times.
Yeah. So he flies up and knocks on the castle door, and she goes, "Good evening, Count
That's
Dracula."
a huge knocker on that door.
Right?
There are so
Look at the size of that knocker.
Yeah. Nice knockers. Why, thank you, Doctor. There's so many moments throughout this movie that I was just like, that's where they got it from Young Frankenstein.
Yeah. Dr. Mornay meets the... Oh, guillotine freak out. Okay. Reading my notes from yesterday is fucking impossible. So Count Dracula meets Dr. Mornay, who winds up going, "I told you to call me Dr. Lejos, Sandra."
Where does the name Dr. Lejos come from?
It kind of sounds Lugosi-esque, but okay. I don't know.
Because I was like, man, they missed
Dr. Acula.
Dr. Acula.
Or Alucard. I mean, Alucard was done well after this with Monster Squad, and Dr. Acula was just a cheesy cop-out, I feel. But it also sounds very comical.
Yeah.
I know it's a Abbott and Costello movie, but I feel like it's way too on the nose even for them.
I don't know. There were a lot of on-the-nose moments throughout this movie.
I feel like Dr. Acula might fit the Stooges better.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. Either the Stooges or maybe even the Bowery Boys.
Never really a fan of them.
They did one specific one where it had Bela Lugosi.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it is fantastic. I'm pretty sure Bela Lugosi swears in it. But that's because he's one of those... He's a portrait on a wall, and he's stepped into the place of the portrait, so it like kind of moves, and he's like,
"What up, bitch?"
Yeah, and one of the characters is dusting, and the dust goes into his nose, and he sneezes, but he goes, "Oh shit!" And we just go, Dracula just say, "Oh shit!"
That's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it's like Ghost on the Loose, I think, is what it's called, but it's great. I love that one. But we find out that Sandra is trying to help Dracula, or Dracula is kind of blackmailing her.
Right.
But Dracula wants to revive the Frankenstein monster, and this is where it's like, he's talking in full sentences. "This is my plan, evil plan. I want to revive the monster and take away his intellect so he has no fiendish desire to, oppose his master.
Mold him to his desires."
Yeah, he has no will of his own. Yep. He is susceptible as my pet, essentially. Correct. How soon until we can have this operation? She goes, "Tomorrow night. Wilbur's taking me to the masquerade ball." So we now know that Sandra has ill will and a plan to take Wilbur's brain.
Yep.
Cut back to
And Dracula's already got him under his control.
In a sense, yes. So
the brain's already malleable.
Yeah, but at the same point, which a scene comes up later going, well, how did he not recognize when he sees him? It's because basically all the scenes where Wilbur has seen Dracula...
He's had his face covered.
Correct. He's put his cape over his face in classic Dracula form.
Yep.
So that helps for later in the movie. But we cut back to the insurance offices. McDougal's like, why are they out on bail? I want my money, blah, 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 blah. We meet a new character, Joan Raymond, who has posted bail for Abbott and Costello, basically to investigate it further and be like, where are these bodies?
Right. I love that the window in the insurance office just says insurance on it. In case you weren't aware, we were in an insurance office.
I mean, it's better than Ditcher, Hyde, and Quick, the lawyer firm.
What the fuck?
That's the fucking Three Stooges jokes. Ditcher, Hyde, and Quick. Divorce lawyers.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Have you never seen those?
No.
It's fucking hilarious. It's great. They cut back to Wilbur and Chick in a hotel room basically being like, well, thanks to you, we had to spend the night in jail.
Yeah.
Why'd you have to go and spin that whole story about some guy walking around? And he's like, well, listen, There were 2 of them. I saw what I saw when I saw it. There were 2 of them. One walking around about 8 foot tall going, ooh. Yeah. There was this other one. Eyes like balls of fire. He throws his little nightgown over his face, and he goes, and he was staring. And Chick kind of freezes up, and he goes, I tell you, Chick, believe me, I was scared. Believe me, I tell you. Chick.
I don't like you like this, Chick.
Be just like you used to be, and he slaps him in the face. He goes, there you go. That's just how you used to be. So we hear a knock on the door. It's Larry Talbot, who's like, I'm the guy who called you from London. I told you.
Whiskey through the screen.
Yep.
And he walks on.
I told you not to deliver those crates. And he goes, see, I told you. He believes. He knows. And he's like, yeah, you're just as screwy as this screwball. And he's like, all right, I don't have much time. Here's my key. I took the room across the hall. Lock me in. Yep. No matter what you hear, don't let me out.
Don't let me out at all.
He goes, okay, I think it's silly, but okay. He goes in, takes off his tie and his jacket, and just starts kind of panicking. He goes, Wilbur closes the door, locks it, and then goes back across, and he goes, see, again, you're just as screwy as that screwball. He's like, he's a nice man. He starts walking forward, kicks his bag, and he goes, oh, this is Talbot's. Let me go bring it back. He unlocks the door, and he's not in there, and he goes, where'd he go? I'll go put his bag in the bedroom. He walks down the hall to the bedroom, and then the bathroom door swings open, and you see the Wolfman in there. Yep. He goes, wonder how we got out of here. I better leave him a note. Closes the door that he would have walked through otherwise. Sits down and goes, I left your bag in the bedroom. Wilbur. And you can see the Wolfman sneaking up to him. Yeah. As soon as he moves, the Wolfman goes to that old spot at the desk, and then the oranges, which he looks around. Wilbur throws an orange in his pocket, and then he goes out the door. Wolfman throws the table with the oranges, which how you didn't hear.
I know, there's so many moments. Yeah. It's just like, what the fuck? How did you not hear that?
And then he locks the door, and the Wolfman like headbutts the door, and just being like, damn it!
Like, how did you not hear that either?
Yeah, and he goes, I got an orange. All right. Wilbur starts walking across the hall and goes, I wonder if he counted these. I bet he did. Yes, I bet he did. He goes back to unlock the door, and the Wolfman's like, ooh. He drops the orange. He goes down to pick it up, slams his head on the knob, and just goes, forget about it. Goes to bed. It's a whole fucking stupid pile of what in God's name.
Yeah.
But then this is a great back and forth the next morning, when it's Wilbur and Chick getting ready for the day. They open the door, and Sandra comes in. He's like, Sandra, I just want to thank you for posting our bail last night. And she goes, I didn't do that. Didn't the cop say that a woman sprung us out? And she looks at Wilbur and goes, Wilbur, you're not stepping out on your dear Sandra. And he goes, Sandra, how could you look me in the face and say that? And Abbott goes, how could you look him in the face? Period.
So many great moments.
So then she leaves, and then you hear another knock on the door, and he goes, oh, she forgot to give me a kiss goodbye. He opens the door, closes his eyes, and puts out like a pucker face, to which Joan Raymond just comes in and gives him a kiss, and he goes, oh, wow, she's beautiful. She goes, I'm Joan Raymond. She's Joan Raymond. Looks at the camera and goes, like, yeah, totally. What the fuck? But
all the camera glances just are the best.
Yep. She looks at Abbott and goes, have you ever just had a feeling of love?
Love at first sight.
Yeah. And he goes, oh, well, yes, I have. Now that you mention it. And she goes down to Wilbur and it's like, Wilbur, I love you. And goes, oh my God, what in the hell? So
Abbott has the best insult for him too.
Oh my God. Oh my God. This whole scene is great. She goes, what are we doing tonight? And he goes, well, he's going to a masquerade ball, but I'm not doing anything. And so Joan Raymond goes, well, in that case, you'll be awfully lonely. It's just a back and forth. And then she leaves and she's like, I'll pick you up at 8. And he goes, okay, that's great. Oh God. Abbott brings Costello over to the window. He's like, just so I can get a good look at you in the light. He goes, it's just, we've been best friends. If I had 2 cigarettes, I'd give you one.
If I had 2 pairs of shoes, I'd give you one.
And if I had 2 girls, and Abbott's like, yeah, go on. He goes, why don't you light that cigarette, put on that pair of shoes, and take a walk for yourself?
He calls him a sawed-off Romeo.
Yep. You little short guy.
It killed me. It's still hilarious. You sawed-off Romeo.
Yep. Oh, Jesus Christ. So Joan leaves. They go out, and they're about to lock their door, but they find out that it's Larry Talbot's key.
Yep.
They go in to check on him. He's torn the room apart. He's passed out on the sofa and just basically goes, last night I turned into a wolf. And at night, it happens all the time. And he goes, it's okay, buddy. I'm something of a wolf myself. Larry Talbot, it's just, oh, God. It's a great interaction. He goes, all right, we have to go and locate. I keep saying he, not saying which characters are saying it.
Yeah.
But,
he.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm watching this, right?
There's only a lot of them. Don't worry about it. So Larry goes, we have to find Frankenstein and Dracula.
Yeah.
Wilbur says, I've got enough problems. I've got a date with 2 girls. And Larry goes, but you and I have a date with Destiny. And Wilbur goes, let Chick go with Destiny. We fade to a boat ride out to the castle on the island. And it's Wilbur, Chick, and Joan Raymond.
Right.
And they say that they're there to pick up Chick's date. Mm-hmm. But obviously they're there to pick up Sandra.
Right.
Which they go up to the door. Joan's all sorts of confused and kind of like, well, what the fuck? They go up and they knock on the door. They're greeted by Professor Stevens, who was alluded to earlier when Dracula met Sandra. He comes up and goes, can I help you? And they go, yeah, we're here to see Sandra. Who?
Right.
Oh, you must mean Dr. Mornay. And at this point, Professor Stevens is very calm with people who just showed up on their fucking island.
Yeah.
When it's like, oh, hello, strangers that just showed up in the middle of the night on an island at a castle.
It's so funny, too, because it's like, that's clearly his castle/lab.
Or where he was hired to. Like, I don't think we ever met who the castle belongs to.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I just assumed it was his. But he's also, like, not even a main character. I think he's in, like, 5 scenes and barely in those scenes.
He's not even a secondary character.
No.
He's like a tertiary character.
Yeah, he walks on screen a couple of times.
Yeah. So, Professor Stevens has already kind of taken a liking to Joan Raymond, and he's kind of just like, oh, hello, I'm Professor Stevens. And she goes, I'm Joan Raymond. And then he walks away, and Wilbur's kind of like, my girl, scram.
Right.
We see Sandra come down in the background, and she's like, Wilbur, that girl, who are you with? And he goes, oh, that's Chick's date, Joan. She goes, I told you to come alone. And he goes, she goes, we'll have to get rid of them. And Wilbur goes, I'll have to get rid of somebody. So Sandra walks up, greets Chick, and then Joan goes to Sandra, oh, hello, doctor. And she goes, who told you I was a doctor? And she goes, that young man who came up and answered the door. Oh, Professor Stevens. Oh, okay, great, wonderful. Fuck, all right, now they know I'm a doctor. Yeah. So then Sandra wants to try and distract Joan or get her away. So Wilbur and Chick stay down there, and it's a great back and forth joke of, all right, listen, now you've got a real fucking problem. You've got Sandra and you've got Joan. So you got 2 girls. Just to be your best friend, I'll take one of them off your hands. Wilbur goes, what about those 2 girls we had last week? And Abbott goes, what do you mean? And he goes, you had the better looking one. He goes, I know. Yours had teeth. Yours had teeth too. And he goes, are you kidding me? Have you seen that tooth? It had so much bridge work. Every time I kissed her, I had to pay toll.
It's just fucking hilarious.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. I watched this. I watched this with my girlfriend, and that line had her rolling.
I knew it was that one.
Oh my god, it was so good.
That was upon the rewatch yesterday. That one I couldn't stop laughing at either. I had to pause the fucking movie.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So there's a phone call to the castle, which I don't know how Larry keeps getting all these numbers. But Larry calls the castle.
This is wolf powers.
Apparently. And goes, is Dr. Layhouse there? So maybe that's actually how.
Right.
Where, like, Dr. Layhouse is in town or whatever, and this is where he's staying at this castle. How that would be public knowledge, I don't know. But Larry calls and goes, is Dr. Layhouse there? And he goes, no, no, I don't know it, Dr. Lighthouse. And he goes, who's this? Oh, this is Wilbur Gray. And he goes, I thought I recognized your voice. It's Larry Talbot. I believe you're in the house with Dracula and Frankenstein at the moment. You hear a clatter on the other end, and Wilbur's running away from the phone. So, Chick goes, what the hell was that? And he goes, we have to search the house because we're in the house with Dracula and Frankenstein. And he goes, who told you that? Talbot. He goes over. Talbot's not on the phone anymore. He hung up. And he goes, we have to search this house. And he goes, we're doing it together. And he goes, all right. Chick, you're a real friend. You search on the inside, I'll search on the outside. He goes, you're not doing that. Okay, I'll search on the outside, you search on the inside. He goes, that's better.
It worked.
And Wilbur looks at the camera and goes, and he goes, come here. So they start investigating. They find 2 doors at the end of a hall. The scene is kept there nice and long so that way you could see Abbott open up a broom closet. And then Wilbur opens up a door which leads to stairs down to like a dock out in the water.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh God, turns around and closes the door. Bud comes over and goes, what's in there? And he goes, broom closet. Broom closet? Turns around like, you got 2 fucking broom closets? Damn. They open it up. He goes, broom closet. Just keeps, it's a very visual movie. If you have not seen this movie, a lot of the jokes are visual. Mm-hmm. But they start walking down. I don't know what they're expecting to investigate here. There's not a lot of space to really see anything.
No, it's literally like a curved staircase that leads just down to the jankiest looking dock I've ever seen in my life.
Yep. So Abbott and Costello start walking down, and then Costello starts walking back up. The door slams in his face, like, ah! He goes down and starts panicking. But eventually they start walking down the steps even more. He puts his hand on a wall, which is the old spinning wall trick.
Yep.
Leads him into a dungeon. And some of the behind the scenes of this movie are great, which there's one right here, but there's another one coming up, and I can't remember the guy's name, and I feel so bad about it, but it's hilarious. Costello's walking around. He just sees a pit with smoke and a light in there, and he's like looking at it like, I can't see a damn thing. Walks around, doesn't see the main throne in the middle of the room.
This giant fucking throne with the monster
with Glenn Strange as Frankenstein sitting there just like not moving. So he just looks around. Glenn's right behind him. He sits down and just puts his arm up. You see Glenn Strange put his hand up, and he goes, looks down, sees his hand and Glenn's hand, and just looks at the camera and just goes, one of those is my hand, one of those is not my hand. And he hits the monster's hand, hits the monster's hand again, hits his hand, and goes, apparently during that scene, it took so many tries for Glenn Strange to keep a straight face.
He still smiles.
Yeah.
He still smiles when he goes to like stand up. You can see him like fighting a smile. It is hilarious.
That's because some of the outtakes is just Glenn Strange just going, oh my God, get this little guy off of me. I can't keep it together. But Glenn Strange stands up. A whole chase scene ensues around the small area where there was a point in our lives where we couldn't make a certain octave of scream anymore as an adult that you could as a kid.
Yeah.
Costello runs around, sees Dracula stand up, lets out this perfect sharp note where it's like, I can only dream of making that note again. It is hilarious to see a grown man go, ah! And take off towards the wall.
That was pretty good, actually.
Oh, no, that was higher than that, too.
Yeah.
So Costello starts slamming on the wall. Dracula and Frankenstein are getting closer. The wall spins around, and he goes, wow, Chick, come on up here. And I don't know if you noticed during the scene where he's freaking out and trying to tell him about the monsters. He goes, Chick, come on, touch the wall. Chick, I want to tell you, Abbott. And then just continues on. He calls him Abbott, and you see Abbott just go, ha, oh, wait.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Oh, yeah, when you watch it again, you'll hear him when it cuts to their close-up. He goes, I want to tell you, Abbott. And you can see Bud Abbott crack a quick smile and goes, ah.
No, I didn't notice that. That's crazy.
Oh, it's great. So then he's trying to explain, oh, no, the wall spun around. It was like that. Spins around, and it's Dracula and Frankenstein with Dracula's coffin on the other end. And he goes, I'll tell you.
It reminds me of Scooby-Doo.
Yep. Yeah. And so Wilbur goes, oh, they're in here. Whistling for the dog, or whistling for Frankenstein. And he goes, well, where are they? Wilbur goes, they got to be in there, pointing back out to where they were. Yep. So, oh my God. And then he leans on the wall while Bud continues to look. It spins back around. Frankenstein's up at the top. Dracula's down at the bottom. Covers his face. They start closing in. He's freaking out. Spins back around. He goes to grab Chick. They spin back around. Dracula and Frankenstein with the coffin back on the other side. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well, there's also, it's Dracula's at the top of the stairs. Frankenstein's
at the bottom. Yeah.
Of the stairs. Right before the wall spins, if you watch really closely for a quick second, Frankenstein's monster trips. Like, and hard.
Yep.
Like, real hard. I saw it, and I was like, I asked my girlfriend, I'm like, did you see that? The monster tripped. And she was like, no, I rewound it. She was like, holy shit, he did trip.
Yep.
Like, she was like, well, maybe the stairs. And I'm like, no, it's the fucking boots. Those boots are huge.
They're thick chunks of foam.
But that made me laugh harder than any joke in the movie. It was just watching him trip up the stairs for a split second. It was fucking hilarious.
Yeah. While all of this is going on at the same point, you see Sandra and Joan. And Sandra is, she's powdering her nose. And Joan is looking around and snooping around to be like, all right, where have these packages gone? And nice. Opens up a drawer, finds a journal that says The Secrets to Life and Death by Dr. Frankenstein. As we all know from Frankenstein, he wrote all of his secrets and discoveries, experiments down in a journal on how he resurrected a body.
Right.
So Sandra now has that book. She goes and sees Joan looking at it from the other room. She goes into Joan's purse, finds out she's an insurance investigator or agent.
Insurance.
And basically just goes, you son of a bitch, walks out and goes, oh, here's your purse, dear, we're ready to go. And like nothing ever happened. But as they're walking away, you can see both their faces go stoic, like, I'm on to you, bitch.
I had a moment during that scene where my brain had completely pooped out and I had forgotten they were going to a masquerade ball. And I was like, why the fuck are they dressed like this? And then it clicked. I was like, oh yeah, they're going to a masquerade ball.
Yeah.
But, my God.
Yeah.
Sometimes I worry about my own brain.
So we cut to downstairs and it's Wilbur sitting looking very disturbed.
Yep.
And Chick walking back and forth just going, kid. And then out of nowhere, Costello stands up and screams. And he goes, who screamed? He goes, you did. I did? Huh. So they make their way down the stairs. Sandra calls Wilbur. He runs up and goes, Sandra, I was down in the basement. And Sandra goes, you were down in the basement? What were you doing down there? And Abbott goes, he fell down the stairs and bumped his head. And Costello turns around and goes, fibber. And then this is another one of the scenes where there was behind the scenes stuff, but Dracula or Dr. Lejos now shows up and goes, oh, how careless. One could get hurt doing such things.
Yep.
As he comes down the stairs. In the behind the scenes on Abbott and Costello movies, while they were still doing comedy, they had a very specific person who was hired to make them laugh.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember his name. It's in a behind the scenes. You could find the video on YouTube of he would just like, they would often have pie fights behind the scenes. There was one where Bela is walking down the stairs right now, and the dude is walking down behind him, just like mimicking him. And it gets to the bottom, and Abbott and Costello are laughing. Bela turns around and goes, "This isn't funny. What are you doing?" Because when it was time to work, Bela was like, "Acting is serious work.
Right.
You need to be acting." But he was jolly when the cameras weren't supposed to be rolling. Yeah. So he was very dedicated to his craft when it was supposed to happen. When it was time to, take a break and fool around, he was all for it.
Yeah.
But it was just that brief moment of acting is serious work.
I'm Dr. Acula, goddammit.
Yeah. So he comes down to the bottom of the stairs and goes, "It's fine, my dear. Introduce me." Sandra goes, "This is Joan Raymond, Chick Young, and Wilbur Gray." And he goes, "Oh, Wilbur. I've heard so much about you. I feel like we've already met." And Wilbur...
Maybe they have.
And Wilbur just gets all bashful and kind of just leans into him. And he goes, "Oh, don't be bashful." And they're going... Professor Stevens shows up and goes, "Hello, Dr. Lejos. I've been looking for you all day, but I haven't seen you."
Yeah.
That's because he's fucking been asleep.
Yeah. Chilling out in his coffin.
Yeah. So he wants to ask about the electrical equipment, and Dracula goes, "Divert this whole fucking conversation. Didn't I hear you were going to the masquerade ball?" And you go, yeah. Professor Stevens, you've worked long and hard. Why don't you go with them?
Long and hard.
Yep.
Sorry.
And he goes, well, under normal circumstances, I'd say no. And he looks at Joan Raymond, if you don't mind. And she goes, certainly not at all. And you see Wilbur go, grabs both Joan and Sandra like, these are my dates.
Right.
Gets protective. So Professor Stevens goes to change. And then Dr. Lejos goes, oh, that's too many people for one boat, so why don't Professor Stevens, this young lady and young man, go ahead, and Sandra, you and Wilbur. She goes, nope, can't go. Splitting headache, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And Dracula goes, nonsense, it'll pass as quickly as it came. And she goes, I will have to go directly to bed. She takes off, and then Dracula follows her, and you hear Wilbur go, well, chick, there goes your date. Just like, well, one's gone, but she's still with me. So they go upstairs, and this is... I can forgive this scene from the movie, but at the same point, it's like, oh, God damn it. Where Sandra goes, that woman, she's an insurance agent. It's gotten too risky. We can't do it. We're going to have to push off the operation. Dracula goes, not as worrisome as those, mysterious operations of yours that so intrigue the European police. So this is what he has over Sandra.
Right.
And she goes, well, if you're in such a rush to do it, hands him the secrets to life and death and goes, you do the operation yourself. He goes, I'm used to having my orders obeyed. And she basically goes, yeah, well, tough shit, Count. My will is as strong as yours. And he goes, are you sure?
Yeah, look into my eyes.
Look into my eyes. And he kind of stutters a little bit. And he goes, look. And she turns, and it's the old craggly Lugosi eyes.
Yep.
That's basically like, ah!
Yeah. Deeper.
Yeah. And then he leans in, and... you see his reflection.
Yep.
Which I can forgive this from the movie because I love this movie. It's hilarious, so on and so forth. But it's like, come on.
I think the mirror work in general in this scene is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because you get to see her with her back turned to the camera, but you can still see her face.
Yeah, and you see her look at his eyes through the mirror, which also... by the logic would throw it off.
It's just amazing.
But it's very well done. And Dracula in 1931 was supposed to be sexual. There was supposed to be some... Which
happens.
Yeah, as soon as he goes in to bite her, you see her, like, her eyes are already closed, but it's basically like they roll back and she smiles like she's enjoying it.
Yep. Yeah, not to harp on it, but I did watch this with my girlfriend. She was like, wow, she looked like she enjoyed that a little bit too much. And then I had to give her a history of like, well, this is why. It's like Dracula, the original one, is hyper fucking sexual. Like he's into guys, he's into women, he doesn't discriminate. And once you're under his spell,
you're fucked.
Maybe, possibly for real. You don't know what happens when the camera stops rolling.
This is my steak.
Yeah.
Bela, I'm so sorry.
Oh, God. It was just his birthday.
Yeah, it was.
Just a few weeks ago.
So, I feel so bad for that joke.
I don't.
I know. Anyway, they all go to the masquerade ball.
Different meaning for deeper now. Sorry. Continue.
So, Professor Stevens, Chick, Wilbur, and Joan all go to the masquerade ball. And Wilbur and Chick go, all right, we got to go change into our costumes. Come on, Professor. Professor Stevens takes Joan Raymond and walks out and goes, see you on the dance floor. He goes, all right, cool. They start walking away. Wilbur stops and goes, what am I doing? He just walked away with my girl. And he goes, I'll show her. Knocks the costumes out of both their hands and starts trying to dance with Chick, who's like, get your hands off me. They keep walking. We meet a devil just outside the changing room. And he goes, so it's you. They go, oh, look, he recognizes me. He takes off his mask. It's McDougal, who just goes, where are my exhibits? Where are they? Where are they? Takes Wilbur, throws him into like a little, little like privacy stall. He goes, that's it, McDougal? I've got it on you. We've got you on assault and battery. And he goes, you haven't got a witness. He goes, I'm a witness. And he goes, my word's as good as you. And Wilbur goes, your word's better than his. Chick goes, you keep out of this. I'll get a witness. And a knight comes through the door. And as soon as he walks through, his helmet closes in front of him. He goes, buddy, can you be a witness? He goes, okay. Lifts up the thing. McDougal throws Wilbur into the thing again as the knight thing drops. And he goes, did you see that? And he goes, I'm sorry, I can't see a thing. And the actor delivers it in such a way where he's like, the night has just started. I immediately regret my costume decision. It's gonna be a long fucking night. And as he walks away, the mask closes again.
Yeah. It was a great bit.
Yeah. So they go into the changing room where Lon Chaney Jr. already is. He's going, have you seen Chick Young or Wilbur Gray? And a little bathroom attendant goes, seen them. I don't even know them. And Wilbur and Chick walk around the corner. They see Larry, and basically is like, what'd you find on the island?
Yeah.
And he goes, nothing. I want you to stop filling Wilbur's head with all these ideas. I want you to have, or we're gonna be here to have fun. Why don't you? And Larry goes, what can I do to convince you that something is happening on that island? Like, did you meet Dr. Lejos? What do you look like? Tall, aristocratic, faraway look in his eye? And he goes, listen, you're not going to scare me with this nonsense at all. Just then Wilbur comes around the corner in like a hat, a cape, and like a Dr. Jekyll looking mask, and scares Chick. He starts laughing at him. He goes, haha, here's your mask. Where Chick has already taken off his jacket and his tie, and he's starting to look a little bit like the Wolfman.
Yeah.
Which then he puts on a wolf mask and goes, Hurr. So then Chaney takes the mask down and goes, no, don't put that on. And he goes, why? What's the matter? Because when the moon is full, I turn into a wolf. And then Wilbur goes, you and 20 million other guys. And he slams him into the locker and goes, I might tear you limb from limb.
He doesn't just slam him into the locker.
Yeah, Chick is now inside the locker. And he goes, is that serious? He'll murder you. That's serious.
Yeah.
So they walk out to the dock. They see Dr. Lejos and Sandra now show up. And he goes, remember part of the plan. I'll distract the others while you take Wilbur back to the castle. And she goes, yes, my master. So she's already under his control.
Yep.
And Wilbur, Chick, Larry Talbot, Professor Stevens, and Joan Raymond all show up to meet them on the dock. And they go, oh, well, Sandra, good to see you're feeling better. And Dr. Lejos, I wasn't expecting to see you here. And he goes, Sandra insisted I come. I, too, need a little bit of relaxation. And
so ridiculous.
And Larry Talbot goes, so, we meet again, Count Dracula. And he goes, Dracula? Oh, my costume, perhaps. Wilbur goes, no, Talbot here thinks you're the real thing. And he goes, such delusions. I suggest that you consult your physician, Mr. Talbot. Basically like, shut the fuck up, but I'm going to make you seem like you're insane. Yeah. And you can see Talbot just go, fuck, he got me. So Joan wants to know more about the Dracula bit. Mm-hmm. And so Dracula takes her to the dance floor, basically being like, oh, I'll tell you more about it while we dance. And she goes, oh, cool, absolutely. Sandra is about to take Wilbur, or takes Wilbur on a walk, and Professor Stevens and Chick are like, Professor, do you understand women? And he goes, not at all. I'm going to get me a drink. So Sandra takes Wilbur on a little walk. He picks a flower, does a little skip, sits down, and goes, are you feeling okay? You don't really seem like yourself. She goes, no, I'm feeling a lot better. I think we should go to the castle tonight. Just you and me. And he goes, oh, really? Weird. And then picks his finger and goes, oh, I'm bleeding. She goes, let me see. She looks at it and he goes, nope, don't worry about it. I think I'll be fine.
It's not enough for me, both of us. It's only enough for me.
Yep. I'm fully packed. I'd like to stay that way. So she starts trying to bite him, and then you hear, Wilbur! Chick comes running with Larry Talbot, and Joan Raymond's been taken. Mm-hmm. Dracula has taken her back to the castle, is what they believe. And they start running through the woods. Sandra also took off before they get there. And they're about to go searching, and he goes, Chick, I've changed my mind. You can have Sandra. Just make sure you got a lot of blood in you. So they start searching. They're trying to find Joan. And Larry is with Wilbur. Chick goes off on his own path. Larry looks up at the sky. The full moon's out. He collapses and then starts to have his transformation.
That transformation is really cool, too, because his hand is in the same position the entire time and doesn't move. That was what I was more focused on, more than like the face transformation.
Yeah.
Because I just thought it was like, it's the same position.
It must have been fucking cramped.
Oh, I could not imagine that it wasn't. It was so cool. No, just the older style shit where they didn't have CGI and you had to like gradually add things for a scene like that.
Or like hand animate someone turning into a bat and flying around.
Yep.
Or just like the sheen on a cape when it happens.
Yeah. It was really cool.
So the Wolfman's now in play. He tries chasing Wilbur, and he trips and gets stuck under something. Wilbur turns around and goes, what are you doing in there, Chick? starts kicking him, being like, come on, get up. He gets up, snarls at him, and he goes, now what did Mr. Talbot tell you about wearing that mask? Take it off. Take it off.
Yeah.
He starts chasing him, trying to take a bite out of him. He stops, runs after somebody else, cuts back to the dance floor at the Masquerade Ball, and you hear McDougal crying for help that someone or something tried to take a bite out of him. Mm-hmm. And apparently another half inch. That was actually Rob sliding down in the chair. I thought he was just totally farting that entire time. That was entirely just Rob sliding down in the chair.
I had to readjust.
Wow. But McDougal got bit, and he's asking, is there a doctor? Professor Stevens finds him and goes, another half inch would have severed your jugular. Yeah. Which, that would have been like the closest we've come to death in this entire movie.
Oh, yeah.
Which, there's about to be a lot more death real fucking soon.
Some real intense death.
Yeah.
Too.
So, McDougal gets up. He goes, it was someone in a wolf's mask. Just then Chick shows up and goes, McDougal, what happened to you? And he goes, I don't know. Looks down and sees Chick's mask of the wolf and goes, it was him. He told me he was going to get me. Then Wilbur shows up and goes, Chick, what was that idea of trying to take a bite out of me back there? And he goes, no. He goes, what, are you trying to take a bite out of you too? McDougal goes, no, the short one's with him on this one. And he goes, me? And they both take off running into the woods.
Opposite directions, too.
Yep, opposite directions. And Wilbur finds himself at the boat with Joan, basically being like, Joan, wait, oh my God, Joan. Chick shows up, and then just then a bat flies down, and Wilbur's trying to swat at it, and it turns into Count Dracula, who stuns the both of them.
Yeah.
Wilbur falls into Joan's lap. Chick falls and passes out on the ground. Dracula then drives the boat out to the island. Wake up in the morning with Larry Talbot. He hears dogs barking, people shouting, blah, blah, blah. No real torch budget in this movie. There was no torches.
No.
Yeah. There was a fire, though, so...
There sure was.
There was a very fucking big fire. It was... I'll talk about it when we get there, but there's an angry mob that's coming through the woods trying to find the wolf, which they think is Chick and Wilbur.
Right.
But then Larry Talbot finds Chick and goes, somebody tried to take a bite out of McDougal last night. He goes, I know, it was me. I'm going to turn myself in. And he goes, oh my God, you've been telling the truth this whole time.
I like that this is what turned it around for him to believe.
Yeah.
It's just the most ridiculously quick moment where you're like, wait, what?
Yep.
Like, you've had so much proof being handed to you just because it wasn't coming from Wilbur.
Yep.
Now you believe it.
Yep.
Fucking ridiculous.
So they hide, and it's like Dracula's taking Joan and Wilbur to the island. He goes, well, we better get there.
Yeah.
Or this was actually a really sweet moment because, like, up until this point, Abbott did not believe Costello at all, and Costello kept going, I saw what I saw when I saw it. Yeah. Basically being like, I know what I saw, I know that I saw it, and I know when I saw it. I just, it's there.
It's real.
And then at this moment, he goes, are you sure you saw that? And then Chick goes, I saw what I saw when I saw it. Like, still friends, even though he doesn't believe a fucking word he said.
Right.
Cut to the island where Dracula and Sandra are getting things prepared. Sandra leaves the room. Professor Stevens comes in and goes, well, Dr. Lejos, I've been meaning to ask you some questions. Yeah. Sandra comes back in, knocks him out with like a fire extinguisher.
It's real intense.
Yeah. Goes down to the dungeon where Frankenstein and Wilbur are.
They wheel him in on a fucking gurney.
And dump him.
And they just dump his ass down on the ground so fucking hard.
You cut to Wilbur just going, oh.
Yeah.
But Wilbur, as they start wheeling Frankenstein out, Wilbur's like, no, Frankie, don't let him do it to you. This brain hasn't worked at all in the entire 30 years. Don't let him do it to you. So Larry Talbot and Chick find their way into the caves. They see Dracula and Sandra wheeling Frankenstein out on the gurney. They turn around, they see Chick and Professor Stevens, who's passed out. Mm-hmm. Chick goes in and goes, I'm sorry, I didn't believe it. He's like, now you do. All right, great. Get me out of here. He starts hitting the lock with a rock, and it's like, okay, no, we're good. Doesn't hurt at all. Rests the rock on top of his fingers, and he's just... While Chick's like, what? Oh, sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
So he knocks that thing loose. They wake up Professor Stevens, who's like They taken Joan up to the castle. Come on. Wilbur runs out of the hallway. Chick tells him, no, not that way, to the left, instead of going straight. So he turns around. Wilbur looks at his hands, goes, right, left, I gotta go left. Slams into the wall, because they came from the right.
So stupid.
And then he hobbles back and goes, no door. Because it was the wrong left. It was directional left, not your left. So they find out that Joan's still in the castle. Wilbur's tasked with getting the boat ready and untied.
Yep.
He starts unwrapping the boat. Dracula comes back with Sandra and goes, they must have escaped. I'll go deal with our fat friend. And he goes out into the hallway.
From this point forward in the rest of the movie, they just keep calling Wilbur fat.
Yep.
I really didn't appreciate that.
But as kind of a fuck you to Sandra, Wilbur has a stronger will than her.
Sure does.
Because Sandra took look into my eyes, look, and then she falls under his spell. When Dracula's standing at the end of a hall and goes, with a hand,
yeah,
Wilbur.
Deeper.
Yeah. Wilbur, come back.
Deeper.
Come back. And, like, it's, okay, did I hear my name? No. Second time. Okay, I heard my name. Nah, back to work. Third time. And then Dracula goes, come. And then that's when Wilbur turns around. So it took 4 times to get Wilbur to even be under that spell when Sandra's a bitch at 2.
Imagine if they had actually succeeded in putting Wilbur's brain in the monster's body. He would not have gotten what he wanted at all.
Oh my god, that would have been great. I would just imagine, like, no, I don't wanna.
Just a giant fucking child.
Yep. So Wilbur's now under Dracula's spell, and he starts, like, skipping away, like,
Yeah. I love that he skips away.
Yeah. Larry Talbot and Chick come back with Joan. Now Wilbur's gone.
Yeah.
So then they look up and we see more of the drawings, which I didn't notice this one until watching it yesterday, of the flashing light, and like one of the gargoyle statues or whatever is also drawn on.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, the operation started. Oh god, we gotta go. So Chick and Larry Talbot go upstairs. Professor Stevens and Joan stay down by the boat. The operation's about to start. Sandra's like, don't worry, you won't feel a thing. Chick goes, can I at least get a little bit of etherpy? And like, please, I don't want to be awake for this.
Yeah.
So she starts to go to cut into his head with a scalpel. The door flies open. Dracula throws his cape up because it's what he does.
Yep.
Even though at this point, everybody knows who he is.
He's Dr. Acula.
Yep.
I'm not going to stop.
So Larry goes after Sandra, takes her away from Wilbur. Mm-hmm. Chick goes after Dracula. It's kind of like, don't look at me. Don't look at me. Larry throws her into a corner. It's like the Wolfman all over again. Yeah. He starts trying to unstrap Wilbur. And then Chick grabs a chair to kind of like lion tamer Dracula back, being like, I'm not going to look at you. He raises the chair to try and hit him with when Sandra stands up ready to stab him in the back with a scalpel. Knocks her in the head and goes, oh! Takes off down the hall. Dracula follows. Lon Chaney is unstrapping Wilbur, who's strapped up next to the Frankenstein monster. And he stops, looks out the window, and Wilbur goes, what are you looking at? Someone else coming after me now?
Yeah.
Unstraps him only just a little bit, and then you see the wolf hands, and it's just the Wolfman looking around, looks down at Wilbur, who kicks himself off of Frankenstein's table to spin him out and move the monster. Yeah. Or sorry, move the Wolfman.
Yeah.
Then falls into some electrical equipment. Sparks start flying. This is where some of the fire starts to happen.
Yeah.
Dracula comes back in as the Wolfman's wheeling the Wilbur cart around.
The Wilbur cart.
The Wilbur cart. And then they start pushing back and forth, being like, no, no, no. And then they spin him, and the Wolfman and Dracula take off running down the hall, which is the most versatile I think I've ever seen Bela Lugosi ever.
The spinning gurney scene is fucking hilarious too, because it just keeps spinning. Watching that made me dizzy.
Yeah, right?
But
can't imagine being on top of that thing.
Hell no.
Yeah. So Frankenstein, in the meantime, you see him look over, and I love this little detail, and I'm so glad it stayed in. You can see the bolt makeup just peel off slightly.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Yeah, because it's hooked up to the cables where it like puts electricity through. Mm-hmm. He gets up. Some of the wires are still on him. And then he kind of freaks out, gets them off. Sandra wakes up and goes, back, trying to control him. He picks her up.
This is my favorite scene in the entire movie.
This is where I believe that injury happened. I'm pretty sure they said this is where it happened.
That's what I was just reading.
Yeah.
So the monster just yeets her out a window.
And in the meantime, Chick is also unstrapping the rest of Wilbur, being like,
right.
Do you believe me? Yes, I believe you now. They watch Frankenstein throw Sandra out a window. Murdered Sandra.
So intense. Comes out of fucking nowhere. Oh my god.
And this is where Glenn Strange basically like hard rolled his ankle.
Ooh.
Yeah, like in the boots carrying the actress of Sandra to throw her out a window. Because as soon as you see him and they cut back as he turns around, it's not Glenn Strange. It's Lon Chaney Jr. donning the Frankenstein makeup again.
Oh, damn.
As he starts like freaking out, throwing a table, coming at the doorway. That is Lon Chaney Jr. as the Frankenstein monster again.
Oh, that's nuts.
Yeah, that was the other fun fact that I had from the episode about the Wolfman that I decided to hold on to. And
hope it paid off.
Yeah, it paid off. The injury was that she was apparently supposed to be hooked up to a wire on the throw out.
She does kind of hit the little windowsill.
And that was what it was they threw her, the wire was too low, she hit it a little bit, and there was supposed to be a release that didn't release.
Oh.
And so she swung back and hit the set.
Oh. She does seem a little bit like Revenge of the Creature floaty.
Yeah. It's I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So Wilbur and Chick run out into the hall. They run into one room as Frankenstein's chasing them. And they run into the room, and in crashes Dracula and the Wolfman, who are fighting. They run out into the hallway. They barricade a bed against a door.
This is the most Scooby-Doo moment throughout this entire movie, this entire sequence.
Yep. They barricade a bed against the door, and they go, he can't get in. We'll block him. We'll keep him out forever. The door opens out. So the Frankenstein monster just opens the door, and they go, ah! They throw the blanket over him.
Abbott and Costello just grabs it and throws it over his head.
Yep. They run into another room. In crashes Dracula and the Wolfman again. They run out, see the monster, run into another room, or Chick runs first, and this is my favorite fourth wall break. Costello runs over to a little shelf, which has 2 chandeliers and like a bowl of fruit. You can tell that they're being held up by wires, but I love it anyway.
Yeah.
He rips out the tablecloth from under it, and it just goes, and he just looks at the camera and goes, runs away. They hide, and then Frankenstein comes up to the door. Wilbur walks out going, back, with the tablecloth over his arm like he's Dracula, going like, back.
He says, yes, master.
And he goes, look at that, he thinks I'm Dracula. And then he attacks. They throw the thing over his face. They hide. Frankenstein has no idea where he is.
Right.
So he looks into another door. They sneak up behind Frankenstein, push him in there, and then Frankenstein is locked in the room. So they're like, good, he can't get out of there. He punches through the door and like clocks Costello in the side of the head, which I don't know if it was an actual punch that got him.
Right.
But like you could see Abbott's face going, oh!
Yeah.
Oh no! Whether it was genuine concern or really great acting, or both, they take off. Frankenstein monster starts following. Joan Raymond still this entire time is underneath Dracula's spell.
Yep.
Which they run out, or Wilbur and Chick run out of the castle, Frankenstein in tow. You see Dracula throw a vase at the Wolfman, change into a bat, and then the Wolfman dives out the window, catches Dracula, and does a sick dummy flip into the water.
Yeah.
And Dracula and the Wolfman are now dead.
So you think.
Presumably.
Yeah.
Presumably. Pretty much. So, Joan is now out of the spell, and she goes, I'm okay. Yeah, great. Wilbur and Chick come running down the hill with the Frankenstein monster in tow. They close the gate, lock it, doesn't fucking matter. Pushes it just straight open. McDougal and somebody else, I don't think it's the insurance agent, but McDougal and another guy show up with rifles at the docks.
Right.
They run up and go, McDougal! And he goes, I got you now. You still want your exhibits? He goes, of course I do. Well, here comes one of them now.
Yeah.
This is where they go, oh God, it's real.
Yeah.
Frankenstein's down on the dock. McDougal and the other guy jump off into the water, which the other guy does a belly flop. It's pretty good.
I didn't notice that.
Wilbur and Chick are about to get into a boat. Chick does the sensible thing and climbs down. Wilbur jumps from the dock about 4 feet up in the air into the wooden boat.
Yeah.
And they start trying to paddle off, but the boat's still attached.
Untie the boat.
Yeah. Untie the boat, will you? Untie the boat, will you please? It's the same clip, but just cut into different sections.
Yeah.
And Frankenstein starts throwing crates and barrels at them.
Man, that scene had me fucking nervous.
Yep.
Because I was like, if one of them get hit,
Yep.
that's gonna hurt.
Some of them got really close, like bouncing off, bouncing into the water right next to them.
Yeah, the first box he throws hits the boat.
Yep. In this meantime, Professor Stevens and Joan Raymond, I know it's a movie, but how Professor Stevens, he goes, fill that bucket with gas.
Yeah.
And they douse the entire thing. You see Stevens stepping in the gas. It splashes on his shoes. Damn sure it splashed all over his hand.
Oh, yeah.
And then he lights up a rag, and the rag goes poof, instantly. He drops it down like, ah, fuck, my fingers. How his hand didn't catch. I mean, I know for a fact it was water that was spilled out, but at the same point, like, that Professor Stevens would have gone up in flames.
Oh, immediately.
Yeah. So they light the dock, and for some strange reason, this keeps reminding me of like Freddy versus Jason.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yep.
100%. I was like, I've seen this before.
Yeah.
And all I was thinking was, this is Jason. This is Jason all over.
Yes, because they light up the dock. They pour gasoline out onto the dock where Freddy is fighting Jason, and they light it up anyway. That explodes.
Yeah.
This just burns.
Yep.
And it's a giant Glenn Strange dummy that they're maneuvering with 2x4 planks or something by 4 planks underneath it.
Okay. I was wondering, I'm like, how did they have the capability to do this back in the day?
So it's sliding the planks back and forth, and then eventually the dock gave out, which crashed them through there.
Right, yeah.
So that's the mummy, that's the Frankenstein monster done. Dracula's been dead. The Wolfman's been dead. And they untied the boat, and Wilbur and Chick paddle away, and they go, that's it. Now, another thing, Mr. Chick Young, when I tell you I saw something, when I saw it, I saw it. And he goes, now that we've seen the last of Dracula, the Wolfman, and the monster, there's nobody left to bother us. And you see a little white thing come up in the background, and it goes, oh, that's just a shame. I was hoping to get in on some of the fun.
Yeah.
He goes, who said that? Allow me to introduce myself. I'm the Invisible Man.
It's the best thing. Scroll in.
The end. It's Vincent Price who plays the Invisible Man in The Invisible Man Returns, the second Invisible Man movie. Which I'm so upset they only got one Vincent Price Invisible Man movie.
Yeah.
But I also love the fact of you see Vincent Price as in this monster universe already, or in like this old horror universe.
Right.
But now he's actually in the universe of the Universal Monsters.
Yes.
So, as far as I am aware, Vincent Price is up there with Karloff, Lugosi, Chaney.
Without a doubt. And
not like it's a Peter Lorre over here and it's a Karloff. They're all in one thing together. Yeah. So it rules. And Invisible Man, they dive out of the boat. End sequence with the credits.
Yeah.
And that is hopefully a palatable and listenable episode with my insane ramblings of a madman for Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
All right, so we got to get to it. Mm-hmm. On a scale of 1 to 10, women being yeeted out of a window, how many yeeted women out of windows do you give Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein?
I would give it 1,948 bitches being yeeted out a window, or 1948, the year it came out.
There you go.
It's a great combination of comedy, horror. It's got enough camp in it. It's got monsters galore. It's got Dracula being reprised again by the person you think of whenever you do a Dracula impression.
Yeah.
It's Bela Lugosi.
Yeah.
You got the only person who's ever played the Wolfman, Lon Chaney Jr., and you got the only other person who could pull off a green, craggly looking, like when they put the makeup onto Glenn Strange.
Yeah.
They went, oh my God, that's Karloff as the Frankenstein monster.
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
There are many moments, though, where his eyes are just dead-ass closed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
For so many moments, I was just like, why are his eyes like just all the way closed?
Yeah.
He's just walking around blind.
Man's tired, all right? Leave him be.
Yeah.
I love this movie though. I have watched it so many times and I will continue to watch it around every October. Again, this and Arsenic and Old Lace.
I still need to watch.
It's so good.
All right. I will.
So good.
I will add it and I will watch it sooner than later.
Yes. Rob, how about you? How many women being thrown out a window?
It is. It's a 10. Now, this was, I believe, my second watch that I remember. I could have watched it more.
Okay.
Keep in mind, I'm a recovered fucking alcoholic. A lot of my shit, I don't remember things from the past very well.
Yeah.
But I don't recall laughing this hard at a movie in a really long time. So, and just the comedy. All of the fucking fourth wall break, look at the cameras, and all that shit just fucking...
She's John Raymond.
Made it for me. I need more Abbott Costello in my life.
Yes.
So that's why I'm really looking forward to the rest of the series.
I'm so ready
we get to watch, not just watch more of it, but talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think this is solid, man. Like real solid. I also think it's I was gonna say I think it's the first 10, but no, you gave John Carpenter's The Thing a 10 also.
I gave it a 9 or a 10, but I couldn't really give it a reason why it would be a 9 instead of a 10.
Right. Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. That being the end of a two-parter, really. 2
Yes,
weeks
sir.
in a row. We've got The Wolfman for last week, and now Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein's monster, goddammit. This is the perfect time to now let everybody know, for a majority, I would say, or a good chunk of the Universal Monster spoilers we're going to be doing with Jason Michael at the helm of those ones. We're also going to be following them with Abbott and Costello meets movies. So you're going to get 2 weeks in a row.
Oh, that means we get to watch The Invisible Man and meets The Invisible Man next, because that's my second favorite Universal monster.
Well, there you go. Spoiled the next one for you.
Without even really talking about it as a plan. Boom!
Boom! So, if you've never watched an Abbott and Costello movie...
You need to.
Yeah, or any of the meets, you have to. The comedy is hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
I think the slapstick itself, the punchy jokes have aged really well.
Yeah.
It's dad jokes turned up to 11.
And this was the most famous of their meets. Like, Invisible Man was great. It came nowhere near this. The Mummy was great. Came nowhere near this. This is also a monster mash of a movie.
Oh, yeah.
But it was also just widely well received. Again, Boris Karloff did a little promotional image for it, being like, I'm not that monster, but hey, look at this.
Yep.
And it's the best Abbott and Costello meets film. This is actually, I think, this is the first time I ever found out who Abbott and Costello were.
Oh, really?
By watching this movie.
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know they were like a comedy duo outside of horror.
Right,
I just thought they were part of this.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they're not, but that's still...
Damn it!
Absolutely amazing. And now you have Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy on VHS.
That rules.
Get to rock that bad mamma jamma.
Thank
I know
you.
you're getting rid of your collection, but it's Universal. You can't get rid of everything.
Not wrong.
So,
Look at the mustache.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that's the end of that breakdown. And spoiler, is there anyone that you would like to thank this week?
We're doing great. I would like to thank, as always, and especially for the wonderful VHS tape of Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy. Thank you, Rob.
Hell yeah, dude.
For, like, I enjoy this so much. Like, watching these movies and getting all the funny stuff or the what the fuck. And now, like, we have the ability to actually give this more of a conversation to other people.
Yeah.
Instead of just you and me. Again, when we started this, it was because I wanted to watch Scream 6. You gave me your Paramount Plus login, and we just went back and forth. I was like, I swear to God, I'm not going to text you during this.
Yeah,
The entire fucking movie, we were ripping it apart. So the fact that we were able to do this and have wonderful people that listen to it. So thank you. Thank you, Ryan, my good buddy Ryan, who, if you follow me on Twitch at Feisty Cheese, Ryan and I play a lot of games together, and he loves horror as well. He wants to come on and talk about his favorite Friday the 13th and probably some other horror as well.
Nice.
But he was texting me earlier this week going, I have been listening to all these episodes and just texting me random jokes that I go, what the fuck are you talking? Oh, we were talking about that during, Evil Dead and all that other shit. I don't know where it happened to my English. But thank you again, Ryan. Thank you, Zoe, for, even though you're out in England, for supporting what we do and being tolerable when I'm horrible and don't respond in a timely fashion. But we're working on it. Yeah, other than that, Rob.
I'd like to thank my girlfriend for sitting down and watching an Abbott and Costello movie with me. I'm glad she enjoyed it. I look forward to watching more Universal monster movies in general with her. I think it's going to be really cool. I want to thank you for always having this awesome studio set up and doing the editing. It's taken so much off my plate. Now I get to focus on the social media side of things and promotional stuff, and that just makes life a lot easier.
Hell yeah.
We have to thank Anna.
Of course.
Fucking episode.
Willow Tree Kitchen, baby.
Yeah. Anna, thank you so very much. Last week on our live stream, you saw the deliciously amazing cookies.
Tweaks. Because it's Wolfman, and then it's us.
2 weeks ago, you saw the amazingly delicious cookies on the live stream. Sorry I didn't bring it up last week, but hey, we're not perfect. We thanked her profusely either way.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, you'll still hear those ads at the start and the end of every episode.
And every live stream, you will see the wonderful baked goods made by Willow Tree Kitchen.
Yeah, buddy. There's still something in the works, so
I'm excited.
Stay tuned for that.
Ooh.
Other than that, I think that's about it.
That is a boot. So what is next week's episode there, Rob?
So next week, we get to dive into my second favorite standalone.
Mm-hmm.
And that is 1999's The Blair Witch Project.
Josh?
Yes.
Josh!
I absolutely adore this movie. It is so good. We will be dropping some photos on the Instagram. I actually went to Burkittsville. So if you want to hear more about me at Burkittsville, tune in next week and you'll hear all about that and a full spoiler of the only movie that still scares the shit out of me to this day.
That's fair. That's fair.
So until next week.
Until next week, folks. Sleep tight, suckers.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Spoiler Sleepover. But the fun doesn't stop here. Go follow us on Instagram at Spoiler Sleepover and check out our website www.spoilersleepover.com. It'll be fantastic of you. So until next time, sleep tight, suckers.
Spoiler Sleepover is sponsored by Willow Tree Kitchen.
Willow Tree Kitchen is a one-woman owned and operated bakery currently slinging delicious vegan cookies, mixes, and baked goods out of Kitchen Local in Amesbury, Mass.
Follow Willow Tree Kitchen _ on Instagram or go to their website at willowtreekitchen.com for more.